Good morning.
Morning.
How are you?
I'm good.
Good. Okay, it's just you and I. Val has the flu and Sue can't exercise for 10 days. So we get a private lesson for Anne. Cheers. Okay, let's do this. Nice little 5 to 7 minute warm up. Let's take our feet to the width of the mat. Take a nice big deep breath. Take your arms out wide to the side. Now pull them back as far as you can. Palms are facing up to the ceiling. Draw the belly in and just give me a little hip hinge. So stick your butt back and try to keep your legs straight. Now move the arms forward with your palms facing up and then sweep them back. Really crowd out the chest here. Now come back up to standing, take them back to the side, and let's start again. Move them back, hip hinge, pull them forward, and then sweep them back. Let's do that again. Out to the side and back, like you're really trying to pinch the shoulder blades. Give me that hip hinge, make sure your belly's pulling in, bring the arms forward, and then crowd out your chest here. Now we're going to hold on this. Your palms are facing forward. And now you're going to turn them so your palms are facing out to the side. And just keep alternating. Keep the chest nice and proud. You always want to try to broaden through the shoulders here. Let's just do a few more. And now take the arms, your palms are going to face each other. You're going to stand tall and bring the arms straight up to the ceiling. Take your gaze now, look up. And do a nice slow swan dive all the way down. You're going to let your head go. So you're looking through your knees, completely unweight the upper body. And if you want to keep little bends in the knees, that's cool. We're just getting warmed up here. So you're probably feeling a big tug behind the legs. That's a good thing. Get some length back there. Now try to shift your hips back and walk the fingertips forward. So we're stretching the upper body as well. Hold on this spot just for a breath or two. Nice. Now take your palms to the floor, shift your weight forward, and start to walk your hands to the front of your mat. Bring the shoulders forward so they're just over the wrists, and now push back to a down dog. So how big should the down dog be? Keep your heels down on the floor. So reposition if you need to. Now elevate up nice and high on the toes and drift the shoulders over the wrists. And pull back and drive the heels down. You're trying to keep the legs as straight as possible. Up on the toes, forward with the shoulders. Push backwards, down with the heels. We're going to do this one more time. Lift up. Pull forward, shift back. Now take your feet and reposition them so they're about 4 to 6 inches apart. Hang out in this downward facing dog just for a few more breaths. Your heels are off the floor a little bit, so if they're not, take your feet a little further back. And now work them towards the floor. Now let's get up on the toes. And down with the heels. Back up. And lower. And one more time. Up. Now from here, bring your shoulders over the wrists. Cover your knees 1 inch above the floor. Shift your hips back. Back to your down dog. Heels push to the floor. Elevate on the toes, body pulls forward, knees hover, hips push back, right back to your down dog with your heels down. One more time, elevate, come forward, cover your knees, hips push backwards. Now put your knees down. Walk your hands in so they're under the shoulders. We're going to do some cat-cows here. Let's keep the toes tucked under. Round your back. Relax your head. So you just want to let your head just sort of dangle down. Now let's shift the hips back so they're over the heels. And then pull forward. And shift back. And forward. And back. And now flip it around. Drop your chest down towards the floor and your tailbone up towards the ceiling. Now round the back again. Shift your hips back. Come forward, drop the chest down, coccyx bone up. And now we're just going to do 5 cat-cows at your own pace. Just alternate, working as big of a range as you can. We want to keep that belly hollowing out the whole time. This is something that would be really good if you did every day. It's great stretching for your thoracic spine. Okay, now come back to a neutral spine. Elevate off the knees just a little bit. And then put the knees back down. And do that 4 more times. Lift up, just an inch. And lower. And lift. And lower. And lift. And lower. And here's your last one. Lift up. Now squeeze your knees together. And then open them. And squeeze. And open. And squeeze. And open. And squeeze. And open. And squeeze. And open. Put your knees down. Your feet are flat. You're going to sit back on your heels and walk your hands forward, sinking the chest towards the floor. Big stretch around the armpits. Keep your head up. Just look straight down at the floor. 3 big deep breaths. Okay, let's come back up onto all fours. Tuck your toes under, and let's all meet in a small downward facing dog. Now we're going to warm up the glutes. So I'm going to have you sweep your left leg back and up. And then put it down and do the same with the right. Sweep it back and up. And just keep walking the feet up and down. Make sure you're working as big of a range as you can each time. You got to make these special. So you resist on the way down. You just don't drop that leg back to the floor. It's all about muscle activation. A few more. Now on this one, when you lift that left leg up or right, open your hip. Bend your leg and lift your knee up towards the ceiling. And do the same on the opposite side. Sweep the leg back, open the hip, bend the knee, bend the leg at the knee, lift your knee up. And come back to a plank. Regular size high plank, and from here, back to a down dog. And then forward to a plank. And just keep oscillating between the 2 points. Two more. Okay, from your plank with your legs straight and your heels pushing back, take baby steps with your hands all the way back to your feet. Try to keep your legs straight. Once you're in a full fold, you're going to inhale to a flat back. Fold back down, walk back out to plank. Pull the shoulders over the wrists, get nice and high on the toes, push those heels back, legs are straight, walk it back. Inhale to a flat back. Exhale, pull down, walk it back, forward, one more time. Shoulders over wrists. Now in this high plank, I want you to lift your left foot off the floor. Get it straight. Now lift the right. Now, take your left knee, touch your left elbow. Step that leg back. Take your right knee to your right elbow. Step it back. Meet me in a down dog. 3 big deep breaths. Come back to plank. If you can avoid putting your knees down, keep the knees off the floor, lower to the forearms. So you're in your low plank. Get your feet together. Push your heels backwards. Lift your butt up 3 inches. Let the right hip rotate down towards the floor. Pick back up. Go the other side. And keep oscillating between the 2 sides. Lots of work for the side body here. Your obliques. Go nice and slow and steady. Working your full range without moving your feet. Couple more. Okay, hold your low plank for 5 breaths. Push the heels backwards. Make sure you're not dropping the face. Keep that belly pulling up and into the spine, super duper important. Okay, knees down. Walk your forearms all the way back. Woo, have a seat on your heels. Nice job. Big deep breath. Get a little oxygen coming back to these arms. Reach them all the way up to the ceiling. And then back by your side. Okay, we're getting up. Finally, we're getting up. You're going to grab one heavy weight. As heavy as you can find. Put it in your right hand. So I'm going to have you kickstand your right foot, which means I've got 80% of my weight coming into my left leg. I've got the palm facing my leg. This arm can just be slightly out to the side. You're going to come down nice and slow. Now, while you're going slow, you can think about shifting your weight backwards. So hips push back. I'm going to weight into that left heel and come down nice and slow again. This is a little ease into a single leg deadlift, but I know you've already figured that out. Do 2 more here. Really try to get your body weight moving backwards. This is all about engaging your posterior muscle chain. This is not about using your quads. Okay, come up. Now just change hands with your weight. Put the weight into the left hand. Do the same thing. Be really careful not to overweight into that right foot. Modification, when we come into that full single leg deadlift, is either drop the weight pick up a lighter one, or use no weight at all. So one more here. Now we're gonna shift the weight back to the right hand. Now we're gonna come off the back leg. So here we go. Back leg sweeps back behind me, but my goal here as I descend is to still shift my hips backwards. And then come back up nice and slow with lots of control. When you get to the top, you can kickstand the foot again, just to reset, and then start your second rep. Now, I would like you to go as slow, but be as stable as you can while you're executing the exercise. And if we run out of gas before we're done, these 5 reps, you always have the option to take a little break. Now switch the hands if you've done 5 on that side. Continue with 5 with the weight in your left hand. You'll notice the difference in the balance challenge when you shift the weight. Now, when you get to the top of the move, if you don't need to kickstand that foot, just float it. So that left leg has constant load. And when you're done, we get to do it on the opposite side. So we're going to kickstand the left. You're going to hold the weight in the right hand, kickstand your left foot. Nice and slow on these first few, especially shifting that weight backwards. So try not to let more than 20% of the weight get in the toes on that left foot. Once you've done 5, all we do is switch hands and keep going for another 5. Should feel a nice tug behind the leg when that weight is close to the ground and your hips are pushing backwards. Now I'm going to put the weight back in my right hand. Now as I descend, I'm lifting that left leg up off the floor. Try to be really stable when you go up and down. Equal pace, both ways. Inhale on the way down. Exhale on the way up. Sometimes when the work gets hard, switch your hands when you've done those 5 to finish off with your last 5. Sometimes when the work is hard, we have a tendency to hold our breath. Don't do that. Try to begin and end each move with a breath. And this last one to finish it off. Nice. Okay, we're going to put that weight down. Woo. We're not done these hammies though. We're coming down to the floor And we're going to do the Sean move. So the back of the body is not going to be happy with you, I'm just saying. So let's get our feet hip width apart, maybe a little wider. Turn your toes in and flex your feet. Slide down so you just have a tiny bend in the leg. Now get nice and flat on the shoulder blades. Toes and knees squeeze together. And they push down towards the floor, heels. And they pull towards your butt. Now, fingertips only on the floor. So you're lifting your arms up. Keep the squeeze. Lift your butt up off the floor. Now you got to put all your effort into this. As much squeeze as you can. As much pull of the heels towards your butt as you can. For 5, 4, 3, 2, release it. Extend your legs all the way down along the floor and take the arms all the way back behind you. Nice little reprieve. Okay, fingertips back on the floor, feet flexed, toes and knees in. Round 2, here we go. Pull the heels down, pull them towards your butt, squeeze your knees with all your might, lift your butt up. So the biggest focus is the squeeze. Just think when you sit in a chair, your legs splay out to the side. And we do that a lot, especially when we're driving. So this helps strengthen the inner muscles. Okay, release that. Arms back behind you, point your toes. Come back for the last round. Toes in, knees in, push down the heels. Pull them. Lift your butt. Now, squeeze as hard as you can. A little harder, come on. It's your last time. Make it fantastic. 5, 4, 3, 2, and done. Toes point, arms back. Hallelujah. Okay. We're still not done with the back of our body, believe it or not. You're going to walk your heels into your butt or move your butt towards your heels. So you're coming into a tight bridge. Now, the first thing you do is roll the pelvis up so the low back skin's on the floor. Lift your arms up, palms face. Are you ready? You're going to bridge it up one vertebrae at a time. Now, once you get up there, extend the right leg out, straight. Now take a peek and see if your thighs are at the same height. Just hold on that spot. Don't let that right hip droop towards the floor. You got to keep your hips square. Point the toes on the right foot. Put the right heel down on the floor. Switch legs. Left one comes up, nice and straight. Try to be pressing up through that right heel, not the toes. Put the left foot down, slowly. Lower the butt back down to the floor, one vertebrae at a time. That means you hold that pelvic tilt, right? Now reverse it, just pelvic rock back and forth. Really good for your lower back. I like to do this nice and slow, so you make sure you're working your full range. Okay, pelvis up, lower back down. Now, keep your toes on the floor if you like, but I don't want you to put any weight into them. This time as you bridge up, it's all about weighting and pushing from the heels. Lift up as high as you can. Now squeeze your knees together. And open them as wide as you can. Keep your hips up. Squeeze in. And out. And in. And out. And hip width apart with your knees. One vertebrae at a time, come on back down. Do that pelvic rocking again. Okay, now we're gonna come up one last time, press up through the heels. Now, feet are relaxed on the floor, but you're still wading into the heels. Take that right leg, extend it out. Now take that foot and flex it. Lower that heel just above the floor and lift it back up. Draw the knee into the chest. Take it back out. Lower it back down just above the floor and do that a few more times. Driving that knee in so you're using your side body, your transverse abdominis muscle. One more. Now put that heel down, extend the left leg out, flex the left foot, lower the heel, lift it, pull the knee up and in. The bigger effort you make on trying to get your knee in close, the more recruitment of those muscles. You'll feel it. Make that extra little effort. One more. Nice. Now both heels down, pick those hips up as high as you can get them. Squeeze your knees as hard as you can. Just hold on this spot. Now, one vertebrae at a time. While you squeeze your knees, you lower back down. Don't release the knees. Pick back up, squeeze. Lower back down, squeeze. Pick back up. And you just have two more to do. Keep the squeeze, that's your focus. Now open the legs as wide as you can with your hips up and squeeze them back together 5 times. And then we're going to say goodbye to this posterior muscle chain. And do some chest and arms. So make these great big squeezes. Nice. Now lower back down. Extend the legs all the way out. Take the arms all the way back. Clasp the hands. So keep rotating your palms. While your arms are back there. And while you're opening and turning the palms, start to bring the arms up. Start to lift your head, tuck your chin, and peel up one vertebrae at a time. Take your heels to the corners of your mat. You're going to dive between the legs with your upper body. Nice big stretch for the back of those legs and your lower back. So we're going to hang out here for a few breaths. Make them big. You want the endorphin, you know, that nice endorphin feel we get after a good workout. It's important to breathe throughout the workout. And then if you're stressed out during the day, here's what I do. It's 4 counts in of a breath. You hold it for 7 seconds and you release it on 4 counts. And do that 2 or 3 times. And you'll feel nice and relaxed. Okay, walk it back up. Now we're going to do some chest work. So pick up whatever weights you use. We're going to start with flies. And then we'll switch to practice. So lying down with your legs bent, take the weights right up over your chest and make your wrists neutral. It's really important. So look at them, get them nice and neutral. Give me that nice pelvic tilt. So you got your low back on the floor. You're in a very stable position. Now take your palms and let them face. And you're gonna open up nice and wide. And then squeeze the chest as you pull the arms back together. We're gonna do 12 repetitions. So you choose a pace that allows you to safely work through this range, whatever the range is for you. Of course, we're inhaling when we take them out, and we're exhaling when we pull them back together. Keep your wrists really neutral. And we're trying not to squeeze the weight too much. We're just loosely letting it sit in the hands. Now, actively press your belly down. Don't forget that. That's super important. Give that chest a nice big squeeze at the top of each repetition. So we want to start to feel a lot of fatigue when we get close to the 12. That's how you can judge whether you selected the right weights. If you're breezing through this, switch your weight. When you've done 12, put your weights down. You're going to stay lying down. You're going to come back to these weights. We're just going to shake out our grip and our arms. So just wave your hands. Maybe make a fist, open and close. When you've done that a few times, pick your weights back up. Keep that nice pelvic tilt. We're going to do some extensions. So neutral wrists, palms face. Try to keep them centered over the chest. So the wrists are over your shoulder. Bend at the elbow. Lower the weights till they tap the shoulder. Lift them back up. So we want to try to resist both ways when we're picking them up and lowering them. We're going to do 12 of these fairly slowly. So maybe 3 counts down and 3 counts up. So right now I'm working on rep number 4. Try not to over squeeze, super important. So the most fatal mistake people make when they do this exercise is when they start to lower the weights to the shoulder, they let the elbows move towards the shoulder or backwards. You want to keep them over the shoulders so the elbows are not moving. If it's getting too hard, you can always alternate or change to a lighter weight. Hopefully you're feeling this big time in the back of those arms. So I'm shooting for 2 more here. And then we're going to do that nice little shake out again of the arms before we do some lat pulls. So here's my last one. Hard to get through that. Okay. Shake out your hands, shake out your arms. So our last arm exercise before we flip around and do a few push-ups are lat pulls. So either one, I'm going to use one of my heavier weights. If you don't have one heavy weight that is challenging enough, take two. So you can either hold them vertically if you have two or horizontally if you have one. Arms go back straight. That's the most important. So the first few, you can limit the range a little bit. So you make sure you've got the movement down right, nice and slow and steady. Just 12 reps. And when we do these lat pulls, it's really easy for those elbows to bend. Don't let them, you gotta be the boss. Keep your wrists as neutral as you can. When you bring the weights forward, make sure you're taking them over the chest. As far forward as you really can. Because we all know it's about range of motion. The other thing you want to focus on is keeping your ribs and belly low, down, as much as you can. And we're still trying to work on that 3 count back and 3 count up, or slower. We really need to pay attention to not letting momentum get the best of this exercise. That's 3 to go. And on my last one, I'm going to do a little hold just to sort of add that extra little oomph. So I have 2 more to do here. And then I'm going to take it halfway down and just hold. So whenever you're ready, take it back part of the way. It doesn't need to be half, just enough that it's hard. And then count to 10 slowly. And when you're done, you should be done. Oh my goodness. Okay, stretching. I think we've, oh no, sorry, we have to do our push-ups. Push-ups and then stretching, I tricked you. Okay, you ready? We're gonna do 8 really good ones, then we're gonna take a little break. We're gonna do 5, and then we're gonna finish with 3. So here we go, let's get through 8. Nice and slow and in control. Exhaling when you press up, and don't drop your face or your hips. Your hips, you're pressing the belly up, and you're keeping that tummy nice and taut. Okay, so when you've done your 8, take it back to a version of child's pose that feels good. Take some big deep breaths. Now come back and give me 5 good ones. Back to child's pose, nice big deep breaths. Back to push-up position for your final 3. Nice job. Okay. All the work is done. Find yourself a seat on your butt. We are going to stretch it out. So I'm going to have you take your left foot, step it inside your right thigh, and then take your right foot and step it in towards your left shin. We're not sitting cross-legged. We just moved our legs in. So both of your ankle bones should be resting down on the floor. We want to try to keep our knees as low to the ground as we can as we slowly walk forward with your upper body. And then you're just going to round down to let your elbows get to the floor. Hang out here in this flexed position for 5 big breaths. When you've done those nice, big, huge breaths, you're just going to cross, or you're going to switch your leg position, I should say, because we're not actually crossing our leg onto the other leg. You're just folding them in. And now walk it out on this side, elbows to the floor, let your head go. Okay, walk it back up. We're going to extend the legs out. You're going to have your feet nice and wide. You're going to sit up nice and tall. I'm going to have you take your left forearm. Make sure your feet are flexed, by the way. Take your left forearm down to the floor. Try to keep your right shoulder back. And just hang in this spot for a sec. Got my right hand on my waist. Now I'm going to take this right arm, sweep it straight up to the ceiling. Hang out here for a sec. Keep crowding out your chest. It should be facing forward. And now take this right arm over the ear, but try to keep it as straight as you can. Bring the arm back up, straight up to the ceiling. And now push off that left forearm. Bring the right forearm down to the floor. Keep your chest proud. Left arm straight up to the ceiling. Take that arm over. Keep it long. Now bring the arm back up. Come off that forearm. Take that right arm down. Now we're going to turn the chest to face the right leg. Walk your hands down your leg so you can find your foot. And then from there, see if you can lower your elbows to the floor as you look down at your knee. Come off the elbows, walk your hands back up the leg. Let's do the same on the opposite side. Turn your chest to face the leg. Walk the hands out, find your foot. Once you have your foot, see if you can lower your elbows, let your face just hover over the knee. Big deep breaths. Walk it back up. Now one more going straight down the middle. I know we're out of time, but this is worth it. Walk those hands out, lower those elbows, relax the head.
Hold here for 5 big breaths. Try to turn those feet to face the sides of your room or backwards. Try to inch those hands a little more forward. Okay, walk the hands back up.
Bring those feet in, shake out those legs. Come up onto the toes, nice and high on the toes. Without the heels splaying out, right? Now let's come into a full forward fold. Let your head go, you're looking through your knees to the back of the room. Cross the arms. Move your feet together. Come up nice and slow, one vertebrae at a time. Equal weight in both feet. Nice, take a deep breath. And I thank you so much for your power and strength. Woohoo! Good job. Good job getting it done.